this is another video. I'm making absolutely loads of videos recently, but sometimes I do that. I suddenly start making loads of videos, but honestly, as I kneel before this computer, because that's how I sit, I always kneel. And so as I kneel before you, okay, the public, the beautiful people who have tolerated my information, my passion, who took time, you know, because I know that I'm difficult to listen to, because, you know, I did have to overcome a serious speech impediment as a result of my PTSD, and I do most of my videos ad lib, so that it's stream of consciousness, because I had to self-develop, you know, because I'd had such bad parenting, and from the adult world that supposedly was there to care for me, in order to protect me, apparently, that I've had to make it up as I went along, you know, for most of my life, until I started asking questions about, you know, what is really, really going on here. And then I witnessed the light being, and then everything suddenly, you know, I just understood so much, and sometimes it feels like I'm just going to burst with the knowledge, okay, that is, because it is wonderful, but then, you know, it's constantly marred and oppressed and silenced by the horrible lies and negativity of this world. And then you start to realise, oh, actually, this is a conscious thing. They are consciously blocking out this light. They are consciously doing that because they are so afraid of this law. And as much as they've made all the people afraid of Satan, okay, well, I tell you, you know, Satan is a complete fiction. It's just, all Satan is a criminal, like a mentally deranged criminal who attracts psychopaths, sadists, narcissists, you know, anybody that's just purely out for themselves, low empathy level people. It will reward that consciousness, and that is what is going on, okay. They are working together, these two consciousnesses. And you know, I use this picture. I don't know who this person is. I've tried to find their name, but you know, they've created these images that are just absolutely wonderful, and I have used them a few times. So I'd like to say thank you to the people that are creating these images, because they're just so perfect. And so then you realise that, you know, and this has been going on consciously through time. It was a consciousness that actually took control of Jesus' life and memory and twisted it all around, and actually turned it towards serving their Luciferian god, so that everybody unwittingly is, you know, the vast majority of them do not realise that they are participating in worship of Satan. And yesterday I shared this video, so I'll just get it up for you. Right, so this is the video, and I shared it on my Facebook, and I put, this music most perfectly expresses how the criminals will feel when Jesus returns to earth, okay, when Jesus returns into humanity. And it isn't, you know, that Jesus is going to arrive on a cloud in the sky kind of thing. It is that people will connect with that and may witness it, because they're connected to universal reality, okay, and so they will be able to witness it because they're connected to that. They're conscious of it. And you know, the people presently are living in a very low form of consciousness, a very subdued, it's, you know, it's almost like being a waking conscious form of sleepwalking. Other people are controlling us through these thoughts that we just accept, yeah, Yeah, we don't even know our own brains. People don't even explore their own brains. They don't even think about certain things. But it's better to think about something and ask questions about those thoughts, because that's what I do. That's what I've always done from being a child. I had to, in order to keep my sanity, to survive. Okay, I had to ask a question every thought that came into my head. And I remember when I was 7 years old and this thought came into my head. Well, it wasn't a thought, it was literally like a voice in my ear, and it said, God hates you. And you know, because I used to take myself to the Children's Christian Crusade, I used to take my brothers and sisters to it as well. We just used to do it ourselves. It used to come like every year for a couple of weeks. Big marquee in the park, and we'd sit and sing songs and colouring pictures of, you know, Noah's Ark and things like this. And the songs were absolutely brilliant. Because they weren't like hymns at school, you know. It was stuff like God is a rainbow and all this kind of thing. And they used to give us like one little thing to do of homework. So like one week they'd asked us to find in the Bible where, you know, the passage in the Bible where it said God is love, or they asked us what God is, or something like that anyway. But what it meant was that we had to look through the Bible and found the place where it said God is love through this section that they'd asked us to look through. And so as soon as that voice came into my ear, you know, I was 7 years old, and immediately my brain just answered it straight away and just said, well, you're not God, because God is love. That was it. Never ever heard anything like that again in my life. And you know, now looking back on it, I think to myself, wow, you know, that could have been the start of something like schizophrenia, you know, that kind of spirit consciousness suddenly starting to enter my head, and I could have like really took that on board and think, yeah, God hates me, and been really scared. But you know, I wasn't even scared of it. I was a bit shocked and disturbed because I actually looked round. I thought somebody had actually said that in my ear. I was in, you know, my so-called home, and the only other person in the room was so-called Dad, you know, and he was sat on a chair a bit away. I was actually on the floor. There was no way that, you know, he could have got across the room that quick and back again, because I did turn round immediately, like, who said that? So it just shows you, doesn't it, about the kind of things that are going on beneath the veneers of this world, that are going on, that children are suddenly, you know, having these little voices in their ears, children at risk, children who are already suffering abuse, and that, you know, it's there because it's waiting to feed on them, isn't it? And that's why it's creating more and more and more abused children. And I was lucky. But I'm not prepared to rely on luck to protect the children, okay? That isn't why Jesus came, for us all to rely on luck, is it? Jesus came to teach us about the right way to live, the lawful way to live, that freedom comes with respect, and that first and foremost we treat each other and accept each other with the unconditional positive regard that every human being is worthy of. Every law-abiding human being is worthy of. And those who aren't law-abiding, well, perhaps there's something wrong with them. Maybe they need help. Maybe we need to protect other people from that person. Or maybe that person just doesn't understand, has been told a pack of lies. Find the human being within. Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. But you see, these Luciferians don't understand that kind of consciousness. They don't understand it. They're very vindictive. They're the kind of people that if anybody slights them, they want to take, you know, horrible blooming revenge for it, don't they? They're the ones that want to hurt. Oh, you've done something wrong. Oh, that gives me a right to beat you with a stick. Oh, you've done something wrong, that gives me a right to judge you. Meanwhile, nobody's looking at them and the wrongs they're doing, are they? oh, all these criminals are out here, let me set up a business housing criminals. Yeah, thank you, government. Just give me about, you know, £40,000 a year per prisoner. Okay, because that, you know, that's how much it costs to house a prisoner, and I'll set them to work, you know, packing stuff for local supermarkets and whatever. And, you know, so we are dealing with a Luciferian consciousness that's governing us, and we need to wake up to it, and not in fear, okay, not in fear of it. Do not be afraid of this lie, okay. Yes, the lie is harming people. The lie is real because people believe it and they make it real. And one of the ways they make it real is by silencing people and oppressing and judging. So, oh, you've got a bit emotional. Oh, you've lost it, you've lost it. But, you know, genuine, caring, righteous people who are genuinely upset about things, they haven't lost it. They're not the type of people who get angry and start punching people in the face and smashing things. Jesus got angry, you know. Jesus, what did he do? Beat the money exchangers out of the temple, whipped them. He got so angry. Because, you know, they are abominable. And that is what we're being governed by, usury. Ultimately, that's what the criminal does, is use people for its own pleasures and fantasies and desires. And that is what is happening. So, you know, they make a film about the devil, and then you get this orchestra and people all singing, and actually the lyrics to the song are saying, "Hail to Lucifer. Oh, hail to Lucifer." So what I did on my Facebook, I turned it all around, okay, and I turned it all around. I said, this music most perfectly expresses the utter dread the criminals and their servants will feel on arrival of Jesus. Repent while there's still time. Stand up for the child rights. And the idiots thought this was on behalf of their god Lucifer. No, all the harmony is with and of Jah. Okay, and you know, that's how it is. All the harmony is with and of Jah, because Jah created us. The universe created us. The universe is a naturally harmonic, synchronistic entity. Sorry, I'm still recovering from this cold. So I've turned it around, and I hope it empowers people, you know, who do believe in Jesus, even though you might have been duped into going to a church and all that kind of thing. You know, still in their hearts they still believe, have faith in Jesus. Okay, well this orchestra and music, right, does express exactly how the all these criminals are going to feel when the truth of universal golden light being finally hits the bulk of humanity. Exactly how they have tried to frighten us of their demonic self-made golden man god with his lump of yellow metal saying, "Look, I'm God. Look, I've got the golden light. I carry the golden light. Look at my gold. Yeah, go away with your god shit." That's what the Aztecs called it. That's what Native Americans called gold. God shit. Well done. Absolutely spot on. Okay? And look at the shitty people that have been riding on the strength of it, and what they've been doing in the name of God. Okay, so, you know, all these words, hail Lucifer. Well, you know, your morning star in Revelations, because that's their revelations, that's how evil they are. Fake. Read the truth. You can read their fakeness in Revelations. It says itself, Revelations is supporting Lucifer, the morning star. Okay, their pack of lies that they think gives them the right to destroy and murder in the name of God. Because look, we're fulfilling God's revelations. Well, they're not God's revelations. Okay? They're an evil, misogynist plagiarism of the original Testament. They've been taken out of context and twisted and turned into something horrible. So everybody will sit there and go, well, it's what's going to happen. You know, how many centuries of people have to live with this doom and gloom? And then finally, they persuaded whole orchestras to sing praise to Satan. Well, you know what? I'm turning it back on you, Luciferians, because this is how the criminals are going to feel. And that is how afraid they are of Jesus, what is expressed in this music. So the people performing this music are in no way, you know, carry any judgment of it, because actually they are now fully expressing exactly how the criminals will feel when Jesus returns. Because to them, Jesus is Satan, because he wants to take away all their self-given rights of might equals right to do as thy will. Okay, so I'm just going to play you a little bit of it. I think it's fantastic, you know. stop it there. So anyway, I think that it's fantastic to just turn it around okay, and deflect, because the music belongs to this universe, okay, and everything that is expressed there in that music, that is exactly how these criminal and Luciferians will feel when finally human consciousness gets born into its universal reality and fully embraces the universal golden light and will never again fall for the god shit. Okay? And because their god is shit, isn't it? Let's face it. It isn't a nice god, is it? Okay, takes away everybody's rights, oppresses people. Well, as I say, that's how they see Jesus. Jesus oppresses their rights to do what they want, to deceive people with their gold and their lies and their false promises and their false prophecies. And it is when people understand the power of that and how they have led so many astray generation after generation after generation, that human consciousness has battled and struggled somehow to get through this minefield of thought that bombards our consciousness the moment that we're born. And it's they who were afraid, and that's why they tried to make us afraid. They tried to make us afraid of God, of the devil, of everything. So that we're afraid of them, and then they're free to carry on operating on their principles of fear, aren't they? But God is love. Love is immensely more powerful than fear. Love is what eradicates fear, makes us strong in the face of fear. And you know, there is a power there. There's a power there. It's them who are afraid. Remember that. They are afraid of our humanity. They are afraid of our sanity. They are afraid of our compassion. They are very afraid of Jesus and universal law of abundance in compassion, because they don't thrive on abundance. They thrive on austerity. So anyway, I did this post today, which was sharing, you know, this light being consciousness. And, you know, I've shared before my experience of golden light, and I've expressed something here that I think does need to be shared. And I do like to share some of the posts that I've written, because I know blind people, you know, Facebook doesn't really work for blind people. And I've always got blind people in mind, because I know that, well, both my great-grandparents were blind. On my mother's side, so I've always had a strong feeling, you know, that things should be put into the spoken word, because I do write. I am more of a writer. I'm a better writer than I am speaker, for sure, and I think the consciousness comes out a lot more purely usually with writing, but nonetheless, you know, I think it needs to be spoken and also written so that deaf people can share in this as well. So I thought, what was most amazing about the universal golden light being, which I witnessed the event of that in 1992, is that it began as a tiny hole in the cloud. One ray of golden light from the glowing orb within shot out and hit my consciousness, grabbed my attention, touched my heart. To witness the transformation into square, rectangle, and then full human figure, even wearing a long robe. Who knew the universe could do that? Who knew the universe has powers greater than our technology for TV? Who knew the natural intelligence of quantum energy that wrote our DNA and gave us the gift of our laws for life? Because I did receive the message of universal law of abundance in compassion that upholds all life rights through an energy of bliss that actually I was experienced before, during and after witnessing this event of light being. Our ancestors knew. until they were bludgeoned into semi-consciousness by the power of the Anglo-Roman crucifixial cross, the one they used to replace our Celtic cross that expressed the universal reality of the equinoxes and the circle of time, without which life could not be. And yet, how can we accept that a man must be sacrificed so criminals can be free to continue in their crimes? How can we accept the cruelest instrument of death is a holy object? How can we accept that God ultimately killed Jesus to save the wicked? How is our original Celtic cross that fully supported Jesus long before Rome is now demonised as pagan and even satanic, when actually it is the crucifix cross that is satanic and serving mock ritual murder and cannibalism, specifically to forgive criminals for their crimes and to allow them to fulfil their evil, fake revelations that give them their rights to kill and destroy in Lucifer's name. Read it in their revelations: morning star, Lucifer, imaginary God, sick, twisted, criminal. Because the majority have blindly accepted all of that, so it is only one more step to then turn a blind eye to torture and murder of babies and children as part of God's daily sacrifice on behalf of helping the criminals, profiting from and enjoying it all. Because we continue to accept the legal definition of a child as a minor, lesser, unimportant human being, because such judgments are ingrained into us as normal from the day we're born, because everything is God's will, except no, it is not. We have free will to live intelligently, with compassion. Only that will can positively eradicate the criminal will presently governing this world. And this is the path of universal light being, to shine brightness into the dark places, to rescue the souls trapped in there, to deliver true freedom by the law of respect, to bring hope and joy that is our right of life, and always will be, forever is the promise. Light is eternal as the dark, and we do love each other. The darkness of space permits a star to shine and a moon to glow, and it holds us safely to our connections. Consciousness has wings when we rise according to the depth of our roots, our foundations, pick up our cultures, move into the future with a brand new day. And you know, that is a very important point, because it is the reason why the Tower of Babel fell down, because it was not connected to any solid sense of truth and reality. It did not have proper foundations, and that is what is wrong with our world. It is not founded on enough truth to sustain itself. That's why it's destroying our planet, because it can't sustain itself on these lies any longer. We can't live on a fiction. The universe is not a fiction. So something's got to give, isn't it? Are we going to sacrifice our whole planet and the whole of humanity and life in order to serve this fiction? Or shall we just get rid of eradicate the fiction with the reality of our intelligence and humanity? Shall we get born into universal beings? Shall we follow the light, the golden light of universal intelligence, or are we going to follow the golden light of their gold, or now their Bitcoin that they're putting all the gold into? So anyway, thank you to everybody for taking time to listen. I do really appreciate the people that have the courage to stand with me, and for the people that are already there, saying exactly the same things. There's so many people of courage in this world. People like Ken O'Keefe is one, and what can I say? I feel humbled by those people. I feel humbled by the people of Palestine, and we as a species need to do everything we can now for the children of today, so that the children of tomorrow do have a brighter future. God bless.